What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, one of the things I love about the sport of boxing is how unpredictable it is. Who would think in three previous fights where Marquez couldn't even knock Pacquiao down, in the fourth fight he would knock him out? Who would think that Danny Garcia, after starting to pull away and knock Zab Judah down, someone who's given up or shown that he doesn't look good in the later rounds, who would think that Zab Judah would rally late and hurt Danny Garcia in the late rounds? That's what I love about the sport of boxing. It's those unexpected turns that we don't expect. And this Mayweather card is starting to be like that. Um, Again, we have Ruben Guerrero, who went off at the press conference. The all accesses have been entertaining. We've seen Mayweather take a different approach. He was a lot more humble, and that's one thing I don't understand about Mayweather haters. Mayweather haters will, if he gets rowdy and ignorant, so to speak, and he's very cocky or he talks a lot of shit like Shane Mosley has a big nose, and he's doing his Mayweather antics, you hate him for it. Yet when Ruben Guerrero's like, "You guys like this woman beater, baby?" and getting all mad and yelling at him, and he stays quiet and doesn't do anything, you say the man's scared. Like he's scared, he's a pussy. Ruben Guerrero just told it like it is, and Mayweather's scared because he knows it's true, and he's afraid of Robert, so he's not saying anything back. So it's clear as day that it's a catch-22. No matter what the man does, it'll be criticized. If he gets ignorant and rowdy and volatile back, then he's an arrogant prick and he's stupid and he's ignorant or whatever you want to call him, ghetto, whatever you want to call him. But if he turns his other cheek, bites his tongue, and doesn't really have a reaction, then that's also a problem. So never understood that. Another thing what was shocking to me is Jay Leon Love versus Gabe Rosado. I didn't really see the beef forming because this wasn't a fight. Like if you watch the Zab Judah versus Danny Garcia, from the very onset, because that fight was actually supposed to take place in February, Garcia got an injury, so it was rescheduled to April, and we just now got to see it. But it was supposed to take place in February, so they were actually doing press conferences in, I think it was December, to be honest. And from the very onset, there was tension between the two camps. Angel Garcia called out Zab Judah for past occurrences. Zab Judah stood up, and a whole altercation almost ensued, and people yelling and cussing and all that. But with the Gabe Rosado and Jay Leon Love, I hadn't really heard much of anything other than the fight was announced. And all of a sudden, we get close to fight week, and tempers are flaring. You have Leonard Ellerby, who's getting up in Rosado's face, and Rosado's like, "Get the fuck out of my face." Jay Leon Love's like, "You don't want these problems, boy." And it's just, I didn't even expect that because I thought it was just two regular fighters. It was like another day at the office, but now there's some bad blood, it seems, and it's going to be solved in the ring on Saturday. Again, this is a very hard fight for me to call because I want to say it's 50-50, and it's 50-50 for a different reason than maybe some of the other prediction videos that I put out. It's 50-50 because you got one person, Gabe Rosado, who they have a larger body of work. He's more or less a fighter, didn't really have an amateur background. At one point, he was boxing and working at Home Depot and trying to balance the two. Now he's been able to establish a lifestyle with him and get the proper paydays to the point where boxing is his full-time sport. And he has a body of work, and we've seen him improve and basically learn on the job. And then you have Jay Leon Love, who's part of the money team, and he's still kind of in the prospect stage, and he's really being backed by Floyd Mayweather. You've seen him on All Access, and he's an up-and-coming talent. And I don't have as much of a body of work for me to really call the fight. I have seen Jay Leon Love's televised fights and then a few more on YouTube or one of the websites. So a really hard fight for me to call. I'm kind of leaning towards Rosado, and that's because I've seen more of him, and I can see if he can step in the ring with Gennady Golovkin and go 5 rounds. That's a huge statement. That shows this kid has heart. And I told you guys this from the jump. Philly fighters usually I've never been to Philly, so shout out to all the people from Philly. I might be way off, but this is just my interpretation of Philly from the people I've talked to that I've met from Philly. Philly is a place that they have. It has grimy parts, and it's a tough area. There's, especially if you're from the old school, it's a tough area to live in, and if you look at the buildings, like a lot of the gyms in Philly, they don't look like these industrial Nautilus kind of Bally Fitness Center type. They look like rundown. It looks like buildings that would have water leaks when it starts raining real bad. Rocky was even based in Philly, so it just goes to show you that a lot of the Philly fighters have that old school, tough, like grit and grind type of attitude. I'm not saying every fighter from Philly is great, trust me, but if you look at the Danny Garcias, if you look at the Rosados, the Bernard Hopkins, these guys come from nothing and try to make something. So I have to admire their durability and tenacity to push through problems and bounce back after knockouts. And Gulo knocked out Rosado. Again, Rosado was learning on the job. I don't know how the fight would play out nowadays, but it's an experience he went through and he bounced back from it. But I'm leaning towards Rosado because the kid is tough and he has more experience professionally than Jay Leon Love. I did watch Jay Leon Love against Finley, and I wasn't as impressed from what I had heard, what I read. I thought Finley gave him all he could handle, and he wasn't really that much of a puncher. He was just very aggressive, and he went the distance with Jay Leon Love. So I don't know, maybe it was his training camp. I don't know if Finley's style was just so awkward and smothering that it made it for a difficult night, or maybe because it was the first big step up for Jay Leon Love. So I really don't know how he's going to look. He does show some promise, but I wasn't all too impressed with it. I was more impressed with Rosado going 5 rounds with Gennady Golovkin at 160, a weight that he's not familiar with. Rosado said, fuck a catch weight, I'm going to fight him at 160. That's a bigger statement. So the kid has heart, he has determination, and since I don't know as much about Jay Leon Love, I have to lean my decision towards Rosado based on learning on the job, having more professional fights with quality people like Angulos, Gennady Golovkins, and Soto Caras, and he was on a 3 TKO win streak, so he's had more of those quote-unquote championship moments to me, and all in all, the kid's tough. I mean, Gennady Golovkin just blew Ashida's head off in the third round, I think it was, so I'm leaning towards him. I have to base the last performance into it, but really it's a 50-50 fight. I don't know what Jay Leon Love is capable of doing, so he might prove me wrong. As far as his prediction, I don't feel, if I am wrong, I don't take it any type of way because it's a prospect. So let me know what you guys think. Who wins this? Jay Leon Love, Gabriel Rosado? Who do you want to see win it? Why? Don't just leave a comment. Let me know why they win. And we'll see on Saturday who wins and how these fights turn out. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.